Hey y'all, um I really came on here without like trying to preface anything, like like rewrite like write your thoughts originally. Um I've just been thinking about Manon weight loss and like Manon of KATSEYE. Manon. Um Weight loss and Papa Legba. So, I know, three things, like how are you gonna connect them? Don't worry about that. So, first I'll start with like weight loss. So recently I was at a softball game with like a team, and this kid, there's people on the team that speak Spanish and they don't know I speak it. I don't really isn't listen, it's not my first language, neither is French. I'm not gonna speak that immediately. And this guy is talking, and when me and my friend approach, because we're ready to play, and he says, he switches the conversation, and he says like fat, like in Spanish, and I was just like, he's talking about, and it's just like, girl, you're the only one that you just passed by him, like your friend Ben passed by, and then you just passed by. Anyway, I tend to like sometimes when I'm listening, because these languages aren't my first language, I tend to like not gaslight myself, but yeah, I do. Like I'll be like, oh, they didn't say that. There's no way they could have said that. Like, and it's like, no, you heard, but you heard. People are indeed rude and like, but anyway, that's besides the point. I think what I wanted to get at with that, because I had told my little sister, I was just like, oh wow, like even at such our like big ages, like we're playing intramurals as graduate students, so most of us are over the age of 22. There's still, and I think I said like even at our ages, but it's just like you are at the age where people are constantly, like even more so than you're a kid, right, or you're a teen, judging not just body but the way you present yourself in the world. And so I've been thinking about that, but also the way that like depending on how much they see you as a person, like even like people associating worth and value to you, and because of that, right? So like I feel like when people used to be called fat or something, like people be like, you're not fat, and I was just like, what's the thing about what's wrong with it if you are chubby? Like I remember I was visiting my friend in Nepal, and she's just like, people don't understand how much of a privilege it is and how much that is like to have a chubbier, bigger like appearance is associated with wealth for them, and or like in her country specifically. And which I think is interesting, right? Because she came to the States, and it's just like to see, because I don't know if U.S. is the most obese country in the world, but that's not the point. It's like I'm sure she saw chubbier people, taller people, and it's like bigger people, and it's like the amount of wealth you have to be to like be in that position, like for that to come to your mind is very interesting to me. But also the way it comes to people's mind, like, oh, you are chubby, there must be no self-discipline, there must be no this, that, or the third. Like for example, I was like at a health expo, and the other day, and they looked at my blood pressure, and based on that alone, they were like, we know that many things can contribute to overall blood pressure, and yours is kind of high. Mind you, I've never really had a high blood pressure my entire life. And they were like, yours is kind of high, so like it could be many things, but honestly we recommend like making sure diet and exercise are incorporated. And mind you, they didn't ask me what my diet's like. I'm a vegetarian, so it's like, and not all vegetarians are healthy, but at the same time it's like, Anyway, and then they don't ask about exercise, and I exercise like 5 times a week, and that's not including whatever I might choose to do on the weekends. Like I move my body pretty actively, unless like today where I'm like crocheting, but I still stretch and move my body around and get up every so often. And I dance as well during the school year, so like I do multiple things, and like walk regularly too. But none of this was really asked. It was just assumed that your bigger build, your bigger arms, you don't look like an athlete. And I think about like the Olympics too, where like people posted different images of women's bodies, and like these are athletes too, like in the Olympics. I think about that, and like I know some people want to be like, they're in the Olympics though. These trials and battles in life, if you're not an athlete, hello, I don't know how you're getting through it. Because you have to be able to maneuver and like adapt and continue to progress and to be here, to grow, to be here. So I know some people want to be like, no, you don't. I feel like even if you learn how a system's set up, like I feel like they made up terms like welfare queen and stuff like that, and it's just like, if you understand how a system works and you're profiting off of that, like you're doing so well, you're not just getting the benefits, you get the benefits, and then some. Respect the okay. It kind of reminds me of like this one YouTuber that's just like, don't get mad, get paid, when she talks about how much is extracted and exploited from women when it comes to like the dating scene, and like her whole spiel is don't get mad, get paid. And I feel like, anyway, I've been thinking about that, but also again going back to worth and valuing people, and thinking about, Manon from KATSEYE. I feel like I haven't watched that documentary that she's in, pre-debut, pre her being within this girl group, but there's a lot of people that watch that and come to me like, she doesn't deserve to be in the position that she is in, she doesn't, she was lazy and blah blah blah. And I feel like people will believe a thing as much as they want to believe a thing, for real. And not only that, but people will believe propaganda and narratives as much as they want to believe about people, whether they're right or not. I think, from what I understand, the documentary was really positioned and posited to deliver drama, like for people to watch it and decide like, oh, do you think these girls are worth being on this team, worth continuing? That's why they made it into a competition. And there's a way that they've, at least when I read comments and stuff about it, there's like people that constantly dehumanize her position, her being there. And so it's something that I think about even now, like because I'm like, I think it's just surprising, and I've probably said this before, but I think it's always surprising when people can fix their mouth to say whether someone's worthy or not, if they hate them or not. Because like I feel like I can say what I like or not, but to say hate or like, this one's worth death of the highest caliber, and it's just like, I'm just never been comfortable with that. Like, that's cool that you think you're all powerful and almighty and all great to be wishing that on people, but it's just never been that deep. Never been that. And not only that, but I feel like people have focused so much on the problem and the issues of a person and neglect to see the things that they've propelled for other people to move forth and do. And I think a lot about, like, for example, because I was going to bring up a real world example, but, like, how about a biblical one? That's real world too, right? The way Judas existed, someone had to stab Jesus in the back. Someone had to tell the mob, yo, this is where he at. This is who he is. When I kiss him, because I'm going to kiss him, that's go. Like, that's literally what it says in the Bible word for word. Like, Jesus gets betrayed by a kiss. So, because it's a mark of identification, and anyway, that's how people find out. But I'm also thinking about the way that, like, people haven't been using that. Like, they just want to hate. And I think of the way that the enemy, or like whoever did you wrong and stuff, they'll move things in another direction for people when you look back and see that for them. I think of a friend who, like, she was in a lab that wasn't treating her well, got out the lab, boom, in a better one, new friends, blah blah blah. And it's just like, some people, because she also pointed out how she didn't realize how bad it was until she would tell other people, right? And then, like, it was always, I feel like that's another thing. It's not always even the enemy that'll get you up out of the circumstance you were in, the trifling thing that you were dealing with, the challenge you were in. A lot of times it's those people that are reacting to the enemy's action. So Judas pointed, that's him, and then mom went and grabbed him. Judas didn't go grab him, say let's kill him. He just wanted the money. And there's a lot of people that are not trying to kill you, they just want to exploit you, they want the money. Anyway, so devaluing, even though, yeah, like I said, a lot of people profit off, I say a lot of people, there's a whole company profiting off of Manon, what she went through, it becoming a competition, but we demonize her and not what the company did in the first place. But there's also a super hyper comfortability with people, oh, you didn't have the talent, you didn't have the resources to become who you are now, and so people will discredit that. And like, I feel like, me personally, like, I was trying to fix my nose ring, by the way. I feel like people are very comfortable saying what people do and don't deserve based off credibility. For example, like, I think someone was saying, like, there's this professor that's really comfortable with saying that he doesn't think everybody deserves to be a PhD or whatever, doctoral student or whatever. And it's just, I think that itself is very interesting, because it's like, you don't know what people went through to get there. You don't even know who he's referring to. You're just like, wow, he's so, like, real. Real rude. Okay, I think that's crazy. I do. Especially to have so many people, like, while I'm going into my 4th year, there's so many people that aren't. Like, I started with so many people doing direct just like me, and they're not here anymore, or they're going to leave soon. They decided to get a master's. They got dropped from their program without the PhD or the master's. Like, and like, one thing I personally believe is, like, this journey wasn't just mine to be on. Like, I didn't even want to, well, it's not that I didn't want, but I didn't expect to be, and I low-key didn't want to be in grad school, I'll be honest. I thought I was just gonna get a job and it's giving cog in the machine, get my money, have fun with friends, and live. And like, I think overall, I feel like I keep getting reminded to be more than anything else, because I think we get to have this opportunity, right? And there's a lot of people that want it, and I think that's where people get in, you deserve it, you don't deserve it. And I can say, like, over time, like, even my resume, people talk about my resume, my CV, what I do, like things like that, who I am, and they're like, I feel like there's so many people that are either be shocked or disgusted by you. Like I said, like, someone's fat has been someone else's strong. Someone's weak and meekness and humility has been someone else's pride and joy, okay? So I think about that a lot, like the way not just God uses the things that like really people think are foolish or undeserving to like draw attention, because that's how I feel when I think about Manon. I think that girl's blessed, like to be in her power, like not to be in her power but to be in her presence. I mean, like that has to be a blessing. Like I think like for example, like some people have said like, oh, like she makes the group more cohesive, or like she adds something to the group that you can't put your finger on. Like I wonder why. Like I think someone has said at that same softball game where all this like mentally is talking about like fat, like everything, like this in a discussion, someone said at that same thing, like this whole, she's like, I do not think this team, this season, this experience would have been the same if you weren't here. And like I often get reminded of that, like unprompted. Like we'll be in the middle of, I don't know, it'll be in the middle of like, I'm eating my salad, like, oh, I don't think you understand how much value you add being here, or like things like that, which is very like rich to know. And like I appreciate, I think there's so much, like I said, that I got from my ancestors, and by the grace of God and through faith, that being is it, however you want to interpret that, because I think a lot of people ask me about career, what I did I think I'm getting into, and it's just like, I don't know what God got for me. I'll just be here and I'll enjoy that, Lord willing. Like I'll try to remind myself to enjoy that, and like try and not get caught up in the challenges and like the circumstances, you know, be that as it may. And then I think I wanted to circle back to Legba. So Legba, he's supposed to sit at the crossroads, and like a spiritual guide, historically said to be that person, that not person but spiritual guide during times of enslavement. Let me get the actual quote from the book I'm reading. So I'm reading this book called The Black Pacific. They're talking about oceanic struggles in tandem with blackness. The little thing that I do have from it is it addresses the populations and narratives of Oceania and locates them, and they're usually forgotten relations to other parts and peoples of the world. So it's like the Black Pacific, this book is not only presenting a history, politics, and sociology of self-determination in other places, but contributes to the very determining of self that is constructed to all projects of liberation. And I will definitely probably be talking about this book later, so don't even worry about it. But in a broad shape of things, this author is constantly trying to connect the ways in which the geopolitical position of people in New Zealand are connected to the sociological hue of race, brown and black, indigenous, descendants of enslaved, and like the deep relationships beyond all that, especially when we talk about spirit. So Legba must be remembered, even if only by certain pivotal people, that fate can be tricked and wars can cease. And so constantly throughout this book, he's not just trying to compare Maui and Legba. He's like, no, these are similar entities in their own respects. Even Maui is trying to provide people, human beings, the ability to trick fate, i.e. utilize certain binding skills to their advantage. What does all that mean, Clarice? Um, for Legba to be able to trick fate is about being able to repair what was broken, in a sense. So I'm really summarizing, so I'm not just reading this to you. But for enslaved that are forced to make the middle passage, Legba's prime aspect becomes that of the gatekeeper, his key purpose to provide redemption from the fate of slavery. In Haitian voodoo, Legba stands at the crossroads between the manifest world of humans and the spiritual realms of Loa, spiritual agencies, domains that map respectively to the Americas, the place of plantations, enslavement, and suffering, and the domain of the island below the sea, populated by the ancestral and spiritual agencies of Guinea, Africa. Legba helps the diasporic sufferers in the manifest domain, physical domain, to repair the breach that, with the spiritual domain that has rendered them dehumanized. He does so by facilitating useful communication between manifest beings, physical, like you, me, and their ancestors and spirits. For those who dare, Legba might be mobilized for even grander schemes of redemption, that is, repatriation out of the living death of the American plantations to African homelands. By these means, the colonial destiny, fa, of enslavement might be reduced to a malleable fate, Legba, to be decided through liberation struggles. So where was I going with that? Again, colonialism, colonial science, and I love this quote that's looking at me in the face, is like, Legba, Maui, they're all personalities, spiritual guides that embody a creative cultivation of deep relation. Their magic, i.e. the colonial science, binds different domains together, individual, social, geographical, and spiritual, in the pursuit of restorative justice. The problem of binding back together is germane to the human condition. It is not a colonial creation. Colonial science was never that innovative. We will nevertheless dwell on the particular dispensation of this problem caused by the European colonial science of segregation, which stands opposed to the decolonial science of cultivating deep relations. So again, all this is really, hopefully you understand when I talk about Manon, or like the value of bodies, how we value in which capacity, and the spirituality of it all, right? I think the point I would want to make salient is the respect and humility to let things be, right? And what I mean isn't that like you don't go on the treadmill, you don't go on a walk, or like you don't work out or stretch, because I remember there's so many times I'll be stretching or like taking care of my body, my mind, and like we have in this treasure earthen vessels, like, or something like that. Let me find the quote. It's from 2 Corinthians 4:7. But we have in this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. So there's like another amplified Bible version that was a KJV. But we have this precious treasure, the good news about salvation, in unworthy earthen vessels of human frailty, so that the grandeur and surpassing greatness of the power will be shown to be from God, his sufficiency, and not from ourselves. So what does that say? I feel like that also that's also getting to you with worthiness and like spiritual things, and I feel like if you pay enough attention to the people that came before you taking care of your body, you acting accordingly, you being your best self and understanding that's not about you. That's not just about you. It will never be just about you. If you were really locked in, that's never just about you. There's so many times, like, even me being here, like, you think PhD is like an individualistic journey, and I think I've been told over and over again that's what it's supposed to be. And there's so many times, Clarice, you helped me do this, or like my parents will tell me someone said this about me, and to them, like, your daughter has helped me with this so much, and like, I don't think she knows, and like, or stuff like that. Like, I think I thought I was touching like something under my bed. I was like scared to bug. Anyway, I feel like that's what all this points back to. Like, don't be so big up on yourself. Like, you think all this is really about you. Even your fatness. Even how you look in the world. Like, you meant to look exactly how you look. I hope you stay 10 toes down and 3 feet deep in that. Like, I really do. And I'm saying this to myself, like, I'm seeing myself on the screen. Like, I hope you stay 10 toes down in that and 3 feet deep. I think, especially, like, my younger self, I think she would be amazed. I really do. Because, especially as a black kid growing up, people had everything to say about your skin, about your weight, about your hair. Like, there were non-stop comments. Like, not just from, it's not, and that's the thing, people think it was just from other kids. It was from grown adults. It was from strangers. It was from people you knew. It was from people that, you know, you would think loved and cared about you, saying very hurtful and degrading things. And I think that's possibly a universal experience, but I don't know. Some people talk like they've never, like, had, like, hate directed toward them. Or, like, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't need to know. But hopefully y'all enjoyed. This wasn't really long, and it wasn't supposed to be, but I feel like, you know, gotta be like, get this off your chest, get it out there, like, let people know. And, like, whether that's one person or nobody, you know, and that's another thing that I believe too. It's never nobody that's not affected. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like some people, like, be on YouTube like, nobody gonna hear this. The people that heard you, whether it was 10 feet down below you or up above you, in your surroundings, your environment. And I think that's another thing. I could talk about that too really fast. Like, the way even atheists, they'll be like, and I don't fix my mouth too much to speak on them, because God bless them anyway, because to go through as much as you've gone through, to be that way, or even if you didn't, whatever, like, there's people that only have a belief in themselves. They'll say that. They'll be like, I don't believe in God, I believe in myself. Or they'll be like, the universe. And it's just like, I think it's astounding the lengths we go through to believe in creation and not a creator. I'm not gonna repeat that. Because it's not that it's funny. I think I'm laughing because I think sometimes I get shocked the lengths people go through to reason with creation and not the creator. And to not fathom God being omnipresent, omnipotent. Like, I think people talk about God like he's only ever been up in the sky and not beside you, not behind you, not around you. And I think that's shocking. So, like, these human hand mental value systems and demarcations of worthiness and unworthiness, y'all can have it. Boy,